Hey guys, I'm Screen, and today I'm going to be going over every single tip that I have for sniping in Fortnite. So here we go. So first I'm going to be going over some more general sniping tips, and then I'm going to dive into some more advanced things and how to be more consistent and accurate in specific situations while sniping. So pretty much the most basic tip, but also one of the most important ones, is just to start carrying a sniper more. I know it's really simple, but in case you guys just are taking that SMG over the sniper, taking those grenades over the sniper, stop doing that if you want to get better at it. Pick up the sniper, and then you'll pop off. Another simple tip that I want to talk about is adjusting your scope sensitivity. This might not be necessary, but I should recommend that you really mess around with it a little bit at least, because a lot of people don't even know that this setting exists, and they definitely don't realize how important it is. It's really preference based. I personally play on a really high sense, but that's just for me. It does make some things more difficult, makes other things easier, but it's really preference based, so make sure you find what's right for you. Another extremely underrated but super important tip that I haven't ever heard before and that I want to share with you guys is to know when you should be going for that headshot snipe, because it's very good to get it, but it's not always worth going for, and I'm going to dive into this a lot more later when I talk about specific scenarios. But to give you a general idea, it depends on how much health you know your opponent is on. If you know that a body shot can kill them, you're not going to want to go for that headshot, for example. I also will recommend going into creative maps and practicing your sniping there, specific creative maps set up for sniping, but I still do believe that the best way to get better is just simple in-game practice. One more tip that I want to give you guys before I go into more complex parts of sniping is just make sure that you're paying attention to your mistakes, because it is a fact. I've watched many players, really good players, some of them snipe, and a lot of them end up not leading their shots enough usually. For some players it's other issues, but often it's the same repeated mistake that could have been improved upon. So start paying attention to why you're missing your snipes, because we all miss them, and then improve upon that. Figure out what you're doing wrong and then fix it. That's how you'll start hitting them. So now I'm going to be getting into more complex, specific situations in sniping, and the first thing I want to talk about is very simple, but it's a lot more difficult than people give it credit for, and that's hitting those targets that are just standing still. Okay, there are a lot of situations in game where people are hard peeking, looking at you, or standing still, and you need to be able to lock onto them quick, get that sniper pointed right at their head, and take the shot. And there's actually a lot of ways that you can improve at being able to get ready to take that shot a lot faster. And the first way that you're going to be able to do that is by lining up the shot before you even scope in. That's right, you heard me right. Line up the shot before you scope in. Take a look at some of the clips that you're seeing right now on your screen. These are clips where I'm looking towards my opponent with the sniper out, not scoped in, and then by the time that I do scope in, I'm scoped in right towards them and I already have the shot lined up. This is going to be one of the best ways to line up your shot, because it's a lot harder to do it once you're already scoped in. This is how you quickly get those kills on people who are peeking at you, shooting at your teammate, that sort of thing. You can see in these other clips here that although I'm lining up the shot, I'm not doing it quick enough because I didn't look in advance, and now I end up taking a lot more damage before I end up getting the elimination on them, or a lot of the time you're not going to be able to line up the shot before someone takes you out or realizes that you're looking at them with the sniper. That's why you have to start lining up the shot before you even scope in. Now, one situation where you want to do the opposite of that and actually take a long time to line up your shot to make sure that you hit that headshot is when your opponent is not looking at you. They're focused on something else, one of your teammates who's in a completely different direction, or an enemy team, or they're just standing still healing, or something along those lines. That's where you want to take your time and line up the shot, because you know you have the time. You know they haven't noticed you yet. That's where you get the headshot no matter what. Okay, so enough about targets who are standing still. Let's start talking about actual sniping, what people think of when you're looking at your opponent, you're lining up the shot ahead of them while they're running and jumping, gliding, whatever you're trying to do, and then you take the shot, you try and hit it. These are the best tips I have for that. First, I'm going to be talking about targets that are running but aren't jumping, okay? This is one situation where closer up, if you're more proficient in sniping, if you become more confident, this is where you might want to start going for those headshots, because it's a lot easier to line up the headshots for these snipes than you might think. It's still difficult, but it can be done, especially if they're closer up and they're not jumping. This is where I end up hitting a lot of my headshot snipes in game, as you'll be seeing right now. Here you can see the creative clips of exactly how you want to line up these snipes at various ranges. This is how you want to do it. Pay attention to this. Usually people don't lead their shots enough, so make sure you're leading your shots enough, and then make sure you go in there and be confident in game. You'll start hitting them, I promise. Sniping targets that are gliding or off of zip lines is very similar to this, although it is going to be a lot more difficult because you're going to want to be leading your shot more. Especially with zip lines, it's really simple because it's a straight line, but you still have to lead your shot a lot more than you would otherwise. And then while people are gliding, although there isn't that many ways to glide right now in Season 4, you're going to want to aim a bit below them because they're traveling downwards as they glide, and then obviously aim a lot in front of them, depending how far ahead they are. The other type of sniping, while people are moving, that's most popular and that's really effective, is shooting at people right after they jump. This is especially good at sort of mid-range sniping, you know, between that 50 meter and 100 meter range. When someone jumps, you line up your crosshair where you think they're gonna land, and you take the shot before they do. It's almost a guaranteed body shot if you get good enough at it, and it's actually gonna start being really effective if you could perfect it. This is one of the best types of sniping in my opinion. It's one of the ones where you're gonna end up hitting a lot of your shots. You can use this same strategy at a longer range, but it's gonna be more difficult. You're gonna wanna start shooting as soon as they jump. If you're talking about that 150 meter sort of range, as soon as they jump, you look where they're gonna land and you take the shot. You're gonna wanna aim usually a little bit farther than you think you should be aiming as far as travel time goes. It's going to be a bit longer than you think, especially when they're jumping. And the reason that sniping at people who are jumping is so effective is because they can't change their movement while they're in the air, which is one of the reasons that it can be easier than actually sniping a target who isn't jumping. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today in this video. So if you guys enjoyed it, if you think it's helping you, if it is helping you, please let me know. Let me know if you want more. Let me know if you didn't like it, that sort of thing. And like and subscribe if you did, I guess. That's all. I'll see you guys next time.